When one door closes, another door opens. Welcome back, guys, to the show. This is Seahawks Now. Today, more free agent news. Sam Darnold is going to be available, and that is a good news for the Seahawks potentially because obviously Matthew Stafford, that door just kind of closed. We were just talking about it yesterday. Stafford, he is coming back to the Rams. He's signed that extension. He's restructured the contract. He's not on the market anymore. But you know who is? Sam Darnold. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about Darnold being a free agent. We're going to talk about Darnold versus Geno, who is a better option for the Seahawks next year at quarterback, and some updates on the DK Metcalf, Green Bay Packers trade rumors, all that and more right here on Seahawks Now. So yeah, Sam Darnold. The reports today, Sam Darnold, after his breakout season in Minnesota, obviously he led the Vikings to a 13-win year. He went to the Pro Bowl for the first time. He threw 35 touchdowns, just 12 interceptions. He had a stellar year, almost a 3-to-1 touchdown to pick ratio. There's no other way to put it. Sam Darnold had a really good season. And now he is going to be on the free agency market. He is not going to be, the Vikings are not going to use the franchise tag. That doesn't mean the Vikings aren't interested. I think what it means is that the franchise tag, they would have to pay him, I think, $40 million. And I think the Vikings are hoping that they can sign him for less than that, maybe get him on sort of a Baker Mayfield type of a deal, more of like a $35-ish million a year sort of a contract. I think they would like that. I think they'd prefer that. But that is the news. So Sam Darnold, he can test those waters. He can look for other teams. He can certainly test the free agency waters. What does this mean for him as far as the Seahawks go? Well, it means he's another option at quarterback. And I want to get into it right here, right now. Who is the better at quarterback? Sam Darnold or Geno Smith? I think there's an interesting debate. Physically, they're both big guys. They can both move around, but neither of them are traditionally going to be known as running quarterbacks, right? Both of these guys, they're going to run the ball occasionally, but they're going to mostly sit in the pocket and throw. They're pocket guys. They both have big arms. Sam has a bigger arm. I will say that. He throws a better deep ball and a more consistent deep ball than Geno Smith does. Geno, a little bit more of a dinker-dunker, kind of a mid-range slant guy. Sam can do that too. But I think Sam has a more powerful arm, a little bit of a more athletic build as well. Sam's a bit chunkier. Geno, I think, has a little bit better escapability. They're both tall. They both have good awareness. Both have good hands. So I think they're both pretty good as far as physicality goes. As far as leadership, Geno, I think, is a better leader. Sam, I think, with the New York Jets, I just don't think he really learned how to be a leader. Geno has learned from Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, who, love him or hate him. That's two of the best leaders in this NFL that the league has seen in a long time. I mean, Russ, was he a little bit corny? Sure, but he was a great leader. He was a team captain, and Pete, obviously. So Geno, obviously, he also started with the Jets, but I think he's got those leadership traits. Sam, meanwhile, he bounced around Carolina, then to San Francisco, and then to Minnesota. Very similar to what Geno did. He bounced around after the Jets. He went to the Giants, then the Chargers, and then wound up in Seattle with the Seahawks. But both of these guys they've been on multiple teams. They both played for 4 teams. They both played for the Jets. They both started with the Jets. The Jets probably ruined both of their careers. I mean, really, when you think about it, Sam Darnold and Geno Smith are very, very similar when it comes to their career trajectory. Both were first-round picks as well, although Sam was taken higher in that first round. But let's look at the stats. Sam Darnold, as far as yards go, he was super, super even. 4,319 for Sam. Geno, 4,320. 35 touchdowns for Sam, only 23 for Geno. That's where that big difference comes in. And Geno did have 2 rushing touchdowns, 21 passing touchdowns. That's how you get to that 23 mark. For Sam, I believe 35 passing touchdowns. I don't think he rushed for any. His passer rating, you look at, obviously Sam Darnold blows him out of the water, 102.5 compared to Geno with a very respectable 93.2. And the completion percentage, Sam Darnold coming in at 66%, Geno at 70%. So Sam has a higher rating by about 9 points, which is pretty significant. But Geno has a 4% better completion percentage, which is also pretty significant. However, I think the touchdowns is what really sets them apart. Sam, 35 touchdowns, and he had 12 picks, so that's almost 3-1. Geno had 23 touchdowns and 15 picks, so that is not even 2-1. It's about 1.5-1. So when you think about it that way, I do think that Sam Darnold had a better season last year. He obviously won more games. Darnold won 13 games. Geno Smith, he won 10 games. So still good, but not as much as 13. But there are some more things to compare, so we're not done yet. How much of Sam Darnold's success is a fluke, and how much of it is because of his coach and his weapons, right? That's a big question mark, because Kevin O'Connell, he also, remember, he made Kirk Cousins look like a star, who, if you watch Kirk play in Atlanta, you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it at all. So considering how much Kirk fell off going from O'Connell to the Falcons with Raheem Morris, I think O'Connell is a bit of a quarterback whisperer. He's really good. I mean, he's a good quarterback coach. Also, the Vikings have Justin Jefferson as well as a bunch of other weapons. TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. How much of it for Sam is because of those receivers? I do think a lot of it. I think you could chalk it up. A lot of his success is when you have Justin Jefferson. It's like a cheat code for a quarterback. Any quarterback, I think, with Justin Jefferson on their team is going to be able to put up numbers. You know, like maybe they're not all going to win all as many games. Kirk didn't. He did actually. Kirk won 13 games one year. When you have Justin on your team, you can just throw it up to him, say a prayer, and guess what? He's probably going to catch it. So if Geno, and obviously Geno has good receivers too, right? DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, like it's not like Geno's playing with scrubs, but he's not playing with Jettas. He's not playing with Justin Jefferson. I think having Jefferson is a massive, massive crutch for Darnold. I think it really, really helped him this year. I think just because he was able to, have that in his back pocket, like, yep, time to throw to Justin Jefferson now, and he just did, and it just worked. And you could say, well, Justin Jefferson missed a little bit of time, and he did, and, but ultimately, I don't think Sam Darnold's putting up those numbers without a top flight receiver. And you could say, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, like those are the guys that he can maybe do that with. I think with DK and JSN, I think Darnold would be good, but I don't think you'd see as good of numbers because, it's not the same thing as having the best wide receiver in the league. I think he's the second best now, but going into the year, he was the best. Plus Jordan Addison, who's a great backup. Plus TJ Hawkinson. These are great players that he got to play with. And so, I don't know if he's putting up those numbers, let's say, on the Browns without a stud receiver. Probably he's not putting up those types of numbers. But let's talk about, so ultimately, who's a better quarterback? I'm going to go with Geno Smith for two reasons. Number one, we've seen Geno have more good seasons than Sam. We've seen Geno have 2 good years. I'm saying this year counts as a good year because he had a great, good stats, won 10 games. I know the touchdowns weren't up there, but I think this is a good year. And 2022 was also a good year. So Geno has 2 good years, and he has 2 decent years, right? His rookie season with the Jets was decent, and last year I'll put that in the decent bucket as well. So Geno's got 2 good years, 2 decent years. Sam has 1 good year, which was this year, and 1 decent year, which was also, coincidentally, his rookie season with the Jets. Everything in between was bad. And so I think Geno, because he's had more success, he's older, a bit more of a veteran, more of a leader. I think he's a bit more of a well-rounded player because, again, Sam's a bit chunkier, doesn't have the escapability as much. So I would say Geno Smith is the better quarterback. All right, really quickly, guys, before we wrap up, DK Metcalf, Packers trade rumors abounding. The updates to the rumors is that the Packers right now are trying to lower the asking price. So we talked about this over the weekend. The Seahawks and Packers have had conversations about trading DK Metcalf. The idea is that the Seahawks are asking for the number 23 pick and one of the Packers' young receivers, likely either Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, or Dontavian Wicks, which we are going to be covering tomorrow. Which of those 3 guys is my favorite? for the Seahawks to trade for. But reportedly, the Packers, they are interested, but they want to lower the asking price. The Packers think the Seahawks are asking for too much. I disagree. I think that that's pretty fair for what DK is worth. I think the Packers would rather give up a second-round pick instead of a first. Ultimately, I don't think he will get traded, but it is worth talking about, which is why tomorrow we are going to be doing a full video about which of those three wide receivers do I think would be the best for the Seahawks to go out and pursue in this trade. With that all being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of Seahawks Now. Comment down below. Do you think DK Metcalf gets traded? I probably am going to lean towards no. And as always, guys, until next time, go Seahawks.